On the way out there, I crossed the
Grand Canyon.
huh?
Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon. When the train got, before the train got to the Grand Canyon, they slowed it down till you could walk faster.
Mm-hmm.
And they told us, we're going across the Grand Canyon. I don't know where it was, hon. I don't really know. But we went across the Grand Canyon, and we all stuck our head out the window and looked down, and it's a long way down where that train went through. And we went to San Francisco, and we got quarantined there. Somebody got dysentery, and we were there for 10 days. Because when one guy gets dysentery in the Army, we're quarantined. We can't be with any other troops. We can be with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And for 10 days, if nobody else gets dysentery, then we can continue to act like human beings again. And after 10 days, we put us on a ship, and took 4.5 days to go. President Taft is the name of the ship that we rode. It was a luxury liner, one of America's luxury liners, but they were using it for carrying troops. And we went to Oahu, and they separated us and took us to Fort Shafter, which was right in Honolulu almost.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I served my time. Got my basic training was there, and we were there for when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. We was there, and I was on guard duty, and I could look and the post I had was up on the mountain, up on the side of the mountain, and I could look and see Pearl Harbor. I saw all the planes diving in, and all the and you must think of the way I felt. I seen people getting killed over there, and the bombers going in. I saw the Arizona blow up. They hit it and sunk so fast that the guys couldn't even get off of it. But I saw that, and it's kind of like the atomic bomb, because they hit the magazine, the oil tanks and things, and it all blew up at one time. I mean, anytime you see the pictures of the attack, you can see the Arizona being sunk, because there's a flash there all at once, and that was the biggest flash there was when the Arizona went down, and it still is down, of course. But then we were there protecting the island of Oahu for quite a few years, until they decided that the Japanese are never going to attack Pearl Harbor, Oahu again, and we had 90mm guns, and they sent us in the invasion of Guam, and that's part of the Marianas that Guam is, and so I went in the invasion of Guam, and with the Marines went in, and we went in and helped to take Guam back over, because the Japanese had that island. Saipan and Guam was, and Tinian and Truk is the other islands that's in the Marianas, and so we set our guns up. Went in the jungle and set our guns up, and was there till the end of the war. So then they asked me if I wanted to go home. Well, sure I want to go home. After 4 years and 8 months in the service, and nobody got to go home at all. I did get one leave, and I was in the States 50 days, and they sent me right back to Guam. And when I got back, all the regular army was gone. I was the only regular army man in the battery. But I went back and had to spend another over a year out there. And then I went home and went back to Splash Dam, and my stepmom and my mother and stepdad had moved to Huntington, or were moving to Huntington when I went back to Splash Dam. So I spent about 30 days back, and then this friend of mine had a bar in Baltimore, and he said, you come and you got a job anytime you come. And so I had Lucy's address, and I've been writing her all that time. And I got on the train and went to Washington, D.C., got myself a motel, and the next morning I got up and I had a telephone there, and I had her telephone number, and I called her, and she came down to the hotel to meet me. We haven't never met before, see? But we had wrote for a year. And you get to know, I tried to write some sweetie stuff in that letter, but she never would go sweetie with me, see? I don't think she ever called me dear even. I'd always call her Dear Lucy, you know. But she didn't, she just, kind of business type letter she wrote me. And so I told her what hotel I was at. It was hotels now, it wasn't motel then. And they had big glass doors in front. And I got in front, out looking out the glass doors, and I saw your grandma, my sweetheart, Lucy, walking down that street. And I went out of the doors and went to meet her. And I had a picture of her, and I knew I was going to marry her. You know, I really knew that. And so we went to a little coffee shop. There was 100 those little tables, those little steel tables, wire legs, like a lot of ice cream parlors have in there. And we got a cup of coffee, each one of us a cup of coffee, and we sat and drank coffee and got acquainted there. And I tried to hold hands with her, but she pulled away from me. But we spent. I spent another. That was Friday, and I spent all day Friday with her. She took a day off. She had some time. She took a day off. We spent all day Friday, and then on Saturday we went to Baltimore to meet these people that nicknamed me, that I got her address from. Lived in Baltimore, so we called them and we went to see them. And we spent the day with them, and then he lent me his car to take Lucy and his sister-in-law back to Washington. And I hadn't drove a car 4 years and 8 months. I was in the Army, and I got big old Baltimore to drive through and a big old Washington to drive through. And of course Lucy and his sister-in-law, they knew the way to go. I took her home, and then I took Lucy back to her where she was living, and we sat and held hands and hugged a little bit. I asked her to marry me, and she said, I'll tell you my answer in a week, when we see each other a week from now. So that's what we that's next week. I went to see her, and she said yes, she would marry me. Now it don't sound too good, you know, but we were in love right then. We had loved each other from the first. There was no, well, look how long we've been living together. How long we've been living together?
Not 57 years yet, but almost.
Almost 57 years. And we've had a good time, and we've got a wonderful family, and you're part of that wonderful family. And we have 2 girls and 1 boy, and like I say, you were part of that